Hi, Dr. Nisha Ajmani. Hi, Dr. Manisha Ajmani. How are both of you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Good. I'm doing well too. Thank you.
Yep, I'm also doing good. Thank you.
Nice to hear that. Well, this is Miguel and I'm Rhea, and we are the professional relations directors for this year's Project Pulse Winnipeg team. We are so happy to have both of you here today. Would you like to start by briefly introducing yourselves?
Yeah, sure. Nisha, do you want to go ahead or?
Yeah, you start. Yeah.
Okay. So my name is Dr. Manisha Ajmani, and I work as a project manager at University of Winnipeg on a project related to digital agriculture with physics and computer science department. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I am Nisha Ajmani and I'm a bioinformatician by background. So I work with like University of Manitoba and Winnipeg in a collaborative project. And I have worked with Fisheries and Oceans Canada as a lead bioinformatician. So my work, like I keep on juggling between University of Manitoba, Winnipeg, and with Fisheries and Oceans Canada. So that's my job. Yeah.
Great, it is so nice to meet the both of you. Before we begin, let us tell you more about Project Pulse. So Project Pulse Winnipeg is a branch of the nationwide youth-led initiative that strives to familiarize high school students with the world of health sciences. We are a nonprofit organization composed of high school and early post-secondary students, and through our online platforms and conferences, we connect students with professionals, university students, and other distinguished individuals in the field like yourselves. Do either of you have any questions about us or?
No, I think it's a great introduction. Thank you. I don't have any question, Nisha, if you have anyone.
First of all, you guys are doing a fabulous job. Like it's a very big responsibility, I must say. But like I'm very impressed by the kind of work you guys are doing. I totally agree with Manisha. What a fantastic platform and a great introduction as well.
That's very kind of you. Thank you. So in terms of the format of the interview, we will be asking you two types of questions. Most of them will be general questions, which both of you may answer, and some of them will be questions directed towards a specific person. We will make it clear which type of question we are asking before we ask it. Are there any questions about this?
No, we are good.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. And with that, let's begin.
Great. So our first question is a general question, meaning that either of you or both of you can answer. And it is, could you tell us about the fields of STEM you're involved in and what drew you to them?
Yeah, Manisha, you want to go answer?
Can you repeat your question? Sorry.
No problem. The question is, could you tell us about the fields of STEM you're involved in and what drew you to them?
Okay. So basically, I started my graduation and undergraduation in electronics and communication engineering, and I have done my PhD in wireless communication. And then after finishing my PhD, I moved to Winnipeg and started working as a project manager in digital agriculture field. So if you talk about specifically in terms of STEM, I'm working in engineering field.
Yeah, mine is a different scenario. So I have a background in biology, but with my love for computers, so I opted for bioinformatics. So that basically is like you make meaning out of biological data by using computational system. So so in terms of STEM, so my field is an amalgamation of biology, statistics, computer science, engineering, all under one umbrella. So I would categorize that as an amalgamation of different branches of biology.
Great, sounds good. Thank you to both of you for those responses. Our next question is specifically for Dr. Nisha Ajmani, and it is, what advantages do you see to being in bioinformatics in comparison to other medical fields?
What I personally feel, Rhea, is because, like the world is changing a lot. And if you talk about the COVID itself, like COVID came as a big surprise to everyone. So being a bioinformatician, I had this advantage of like sequencing the SARS virus and see the potential regions which could, like which can be further used for developing vaccine and all. So I think, like because of bioinformatics, I could see the genome of, like COVID, which can be used for designing antibodies and all. So that's how the thing worked out in my field. So I think that's the advantage of being into such a field where you can see the exact picture so clearly with the help of computers.
Great, thank you so much for telling us about a bit about bioinformatics. It sounds like a very interesting field. The next question is a general question, and it is, can you explain some specifics of university when going into your fields? For example, how many years of university does one generally need for the field?
Okay, so I will start with it, and Nisha, maybe you can proceed with it. So I have a background in engineering, and engineering is like after you finish your school, you take like 4 years engineering course. Uh, you can choose like different fields of engineering, whether it's a computer science or electronics or civil or chemical. So after finishing like your bachelor's degree, you move to like do a master degree. So for master, it take like 2 years, and then for PhD, it depends upon country to country, but it generally takes like 3 to 7 years. Yeah.
Yeah, in my field, I would just like to add one point. So, formally, if you want to get into bioinformatics, then you can opt for like during your bachelor's program, you can always take bioinformatics as a subject. And moving on, then you can pursue your master's degree, and same with like PhD and postdoc. So basically, like after school, you go for a degree program, bachelor's degree, then you move on, you decide, okay, I have to go for a particular branch of science, then that is 2 years. And then PhD, as Manisha said, it varies from university to university and from candidate to candidate. I would like to add that. Yeah.
Great. So as a follow-up question for Dr. Nisha Ajmani, does this mean that to be a bioinformatician, you are required to take the MCAT, or is that not the case?
No, that's not the case, Rhea. You don't have to take any, like competitive exam for that. But I would suggest in bioinformatics also there are different branches. Like if you really want to get into, because bioinformatics, one is designing tools, the other is analyzing the data. So it clearly, like what your ambition is, what you're interested. So if you are like really interested in programming and coding, then you have to take several, like advanced courses to be that developer. Because for analyzing data, for example, if you want to study the pathway of a protein, for that you need a particular software which can do that purpose. So for developing the software, I would suggest, yeah, you have to go for several, like programming courses, computer courses. But if you want to analyze the data, you just have to be, like efficient with the computers, as well as you should have a good background in biology. So that two fields, like it has two different variants, the bioinformatics field. Yeah. But there is no such, like competitive exam, like MCAT or any other exam.
Sounds good. Thank you for clarifying that. Our next question is for Dr. Manisha Ajmani, and it is, what does your role as the project manager at the university entail?
Okay, so my role, so basically initially I will tell you what my project is on which we are working, and then I can tell you what's my role is. So basically the focus of my project is to automatically generate labeled image data set and use those images to generate like to train a machine learning model. And this machine learning model can help identifying crops and weeds. So what's the advantage of doing this is basically this will help in monitoring the crop health, disease, weeds, and it will help to improve the growing condition and by like eliminating the threat. So it's basically improving the efficiency of farming, I can say. My role in this project is basically coordinating the internal resources, coordinating with industry partners to ensure timely and flawless execution of the project, overseeing like budgetary objectives, adjusting project constraints based on like financial analysis. I can say like I'm also responsible for reporting progress on the project, including like communication about project findings, research findings, and related activities to project stakeholders are like the members of the public, government members of the public. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for telling us about your project. We're hoping that you get a good outcome out of them.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
yeah. Our next question is a general question, and it is, what did you do personally in high school and undergraduate school to help you prepare for this field? And what obstacles did you face during your education?
So in my high school, like in India, the education system is quite entirely different. So in my high school, I took biology as my major subject. So once you take biology after completing my high school, I had the option of, like going for specialization in botany, zoology with an honor subject. So at that time when I completed my undergrad, bioinformatics was a very fairly new field in India. So and I used to think, why can't there be any field where I can study biology at the same time use computers? So that that was the turning point when I opted for, like bioinformatics as an add-on course, as an elective course. And with passage of time, I found this very interesting. So, like during my master's program, I personally I did my master's degree in systems biology and bioinformatics from India. And then after completing my, like master's program, I served as an assistant professor in India for 4 years before moving to Canada. So when I moved here, then again, like, because, like bioinformatics is such an evolving field, you have to constantly keep yourself updated. Every day a new software is going to come out. There will be a new advancement and you have to keep yourself, like continuously updated. So when I moved to Canada, so I enrolled myself in University of Manitoba, completed my education, then started working with fisheries and ocean and analyzing the data. So that's how it started. So from biology to bioinformatics, and then, like step by step, like I progressed. Yeah.
For me, it's a bit different because I opted for engineering, and for engineering, the major subject was mathematics and physics. So I opted for mathematics and physics. Then I was so like after you finish your schooling, you have a competitive exam to get into the university for engineering. So so I gave the competitive exam, and like luckily I cleared it and I got into a good university. And then from there, like, so what I was doing, like I was preparing for these competitive exam. Along with that, what I was doing is I was taking some programming courses which can help me further in my degree. And I was also like doing some summer courses in like core electronics company as a RA. And so it's like a mixture of doing like both summer courses as a like in person in the company, and some online courses. Yeah.
Great. Thank you to both of you for walking us through that. It seems like both of you worked very hard to get where you are now. Our next question is another general question, and it is, what is a day in your life like? What do you do on a regular work day? And could you also tell us how your day has changed due to COVID-19?
I think COVID-19 has changed a lot of lives. And basically, like I'm on mat leave. So I had a baby like in June. So my day is like juggling between the two because I'm homeschooling them. At the same time, I have a set schedule because I'm writing papers, like publishing papers, giving talks, attending seminars. So my day is like I have to juggle between my work and, like family life, work life balance. And I think COVID-19 has changed everything. It has brought the hybrid culture. the hybrid culture, like where people can, like stay at home at the same time they can work, they can take care of family. It's challenging, but I think it's doable.
Yeah, so for me, like I'm working from home these days, so it's a bit more flexible. I can start my day early and I can finish my day sometimes early. Um, I don't have to travel, so I'm saving some time there. But yeah, the most one of the most thing which I'm missing is like in-person interaction with my colleagues and with my manager. So yeah, it changed quite, but yeah, I'm getting adjusted in this new I can say new life.
So as a follow-up, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I'm
would
good.
like to add, yes, I would like to add one more point. Yeah, I miss seeing students in person, like I miss that part, like taking online classes, giving them online lectures. Sometimes I feel that one-to-one connection is so important for a course, like for a student. So I miss that part. No, undoubtedly, I hope things will, like get back to normal soon, but this is new normal and everybody has to has to accept this new normal. Yeah.
Sounds good. So as a follow-up, pre-COVID, did both of your jobs involve you going to the university or to your workplace every single day and always giving these lectures? Or what was more of a normal day in a regular world without COVID?
So yes, initially, when before COVID, yes, I used to go to university, deliver lectures, attend classes. But like because of COVID, since March, I've been working from home, preparing online lessons and classes. It is challenging because even for students, I would say, because they miss, like even if they have a doubt, sometimes you need one-to-one conversation. So yeah, my work involved like I have to visit university regularly. So I've been working from home. Yeah.
Same for me. So I before COVID, I used to go to university every day, and my work was basically involved with like collaborating with different organizations, having a lot of meetings, talking to different vendors, and communicating about our research presentation. So yeah, it was pretty busy, but it's the same thing which is going on, but now it's like from work from home.
Great. Thank you so much for telling us about your days pre-COVID. And we're also hoping things can get back to normal soon as well. Our next question is, again, a general question. And it is, what are some projects you have been or are currently involved in? And what are some of the most important takeaways you took from them?
Yeah, so I've been involved in a number of projects starting from, like from India. Like in India, I was involved in a project where I studied the effect of music in patients suffering from aphasia and stroke. And then, like I did a project and that was also related to music and studying the effect of music and memory loss and brain. But when I came to Canada, like my project completely changed. So I studied the like expression and I did analysis on lamprey, which is a jawless fish and has evolved approximately 550 million years ago. So we studied the genome of lamprey and did some kind of sequencing and annotated the genome. So that was one of my project. With Fisheries and Oceans Canada, like I developed the pipelines for environmental DNA analysis. Yeah. So these are some of the projects which I have worked on. Yeah.
Yes, so I have worked on a couple of projects, but I will talk more about what I have done during my PhD and what I'm currently working on. So during my PhD, um, so I will start with this. Like I always wanted to work, I always wanted to work on the project in which I can use my technical skills to make people's life easier. So I got a project in Scotland, and in that I have designed a tracking system which can help to track people who are suffering from dementia. So from that project, I can personally connect with it because during that project, I got a chance to interact with patients and see like what they feel and how like we can bring something which can make their life easy. And other than that, like when I moved to Winnipeg, I started working on digital agriculture project, which I mentioned before, that what we are doing. With this project, I believe the main advantage of this project will that it will help to increase the efficiency of the farming in future. So I hope so. We will be successful in this project. Yeah.
Great, thank you both. Just as a follow-up question towards Dr. Nisha, um, I wanted to ask which project you felt was most impactful for you and which you felt taught you the most.
I think the present project, when where I get a chance to annotate the genome of lamprey, and I think it is a big deal because like when you see NCBI and when you see a genome. So basically, in my project, I did the RNA sequencing data and analyzed the data, and after analysis, we found a couple of genes which were not in the genome. So we have already like published a paper and like submitted our sequences to NCBI and have like found some new interesting genes. So I think this was one of the like changing life changing projects of my life where like I got a chance to analyze and like new genome as well as to like discover some new genes. And because like it would be very, it's not publicly available, so I think the lamprey community, they are going to take advantage of this project. And along with that, with the help of this project, like it definitely opened some doors, in fact a lot of doors. So because of this project, I got like entry into Fisheries and Oceans Canada as a lead bioinformatician, and got a chance to show my skills that I can use by my skills for designing different pipelines for data analysis. So yeah.
Great. Thank you for walking us through your projects. And it seems like they're really helping advance research and helping the community. So good for both of you. Now, both of you were also involved in the organization of a very successful virtual soapbox science event that was meant to advocate for women's education in STEM. First of all, congratulations to both of you. That's very commendable. But as for our questions, firstly, directed towards Dr. Nisha Ajmani, what has been your experience like organizing such an event?
I would say, Rhea, it was a fabulous experience because, like when you organize these kinds of event, you get to see a lot of women who are doing fantastic jobs. And because, like sometimes because of a break in career, you are not able to showcase your skills. So this Soapbox Science organization has, like it's an event, like which is run all across UK, and then like it's very popular. So it helps women to define themselves, give them an opportunity to showcase their like talent. Even like if you have a break in a career, like one of the participants in a list, like she had a break of 3 years, like after having a baby, like so it's a great comeback, like where you can like virtually stand anywhere, like and speak about your research. You don't need any prop, you just need audience. So I think it was a great event, and I would give the credit to Manisha because like she participated in that event, and she'll guide you more about how it happened. Yeah.
Yeah, so I will talk about Soapbox Science. Like, I was one of the speakers in Soapbox Science Edinburgh, where I participated and I communicated about my research. So when I took part in this event, I realized that this is one of the very big event in UK, and this gives an opportunity to different researchers to come forward and talk about their research. And the good thing was like you don't use any presentation or anything. It's just like you're talking to a general public in a layman language. So when you talk about your research, so there may be a 8 year kid old, 8 8 8 year old kid or maybe there is like 80 years old person who is standing in that audience and they are listening to your research. So you cannot use like presentation or anything. You have to talk in a layman language so both of them can understand what exactly you are doing. So after doing this, after participating in this event, I realized like um, it helps to collaborate like different. So it basically helps researchers to collaborate with different industry partners who are interested in their project. Along with that, it encourages like young kids to take the field in which they are interested. So basically, motivating young researchers to take up STEM field. So when I moved to Winnipeg, I thought like this is a great platform, and maybe we can bring Soapbox Science in Winnipeg. And after consulting Nisha, we took the initiative and we successfully organized our first event last year, and we are going to organize the second one this year in August.
Yeah, and I would like to add because, and I think it's so important because nowadays every day a new field is coming up. You new field like proteomics, genomics. Like every day you will heard at metabolomics. So I think it's so important for high school students where like they are unaware of these terms and terminology that they can pursue their career in. So we thought like let's bring it to the street. Let's bring Winnipeg is so famous. Like but when we did a kind of research, we found that a lot of women from Winnipeg, they are doing fantastic research. They have to travel all the way from Winnipeg to other province. So we thought like Winnipeg is already doing a lot of things, like on their own. So why not bring this event to Winnipeg? So it happened last year, and this year also we are going to do it virtually. Yeah.
Great. Thank you both so much for taking on such important initiatives and being such an inspiration in our community. And we also wish you the best of luck on your second event.
Thank you.
Our next question is a follow-up question. Do you believe that there is a need for more female representation in STEM?
Yes, I personally believe, and in fact, a lot of data says that like women, like they do a lot of research, but there's still gender bias. So I think yeah, we need a lot of women for women empowerment and for the advancement in their career. So I think yeah, definitely, and I think this initiative and being a part of Let's Talk Science organization, like I think these kind of events not only help like girls but also like their parents, like they get an idea, okay, my child can go into this field, because there is so much knowledge, but like the exact knowledge which is good for your child, it's so I think this kind of event provides a platform. So I think yes, I strongly believe that we need more women in STEM.
Yeah, I agree with Nisha. I can say like I can give you an example. For example, if a boy in a village do something big, everyone looks towards him and say like, okay, I want to be I want to be like him. For example, if a sports person get a trophy, so everyone looks towards him and they want to become a sports person. So I feel like if a woman represent in STEM, they do something. So young women will also like look towards her and they want to become a researcher or they want to opt for a STEM field. Yeah, so I think so. We need women in STEM field.
That's great to hear. And I think that your event does really empower women. So that's great. We have another question on this, and it's also a general question. Moving to your personal stories, how do both of you feel about being a female in STEM? Do you think that due to your gender, there is a difference in perception in regards to the work you do, or have you never felt that way?
Uh, in some cases, yes, Rhea. I would say yes. In some cases, there is a gender bias. Like where when you do these kind of research, but like nowadays, how the things are changing. I think if you look at the data, it has strong. It is getting reduced especially with this kind of events and Let's Talk Science organizations. So they are trying to like cover the gap, but yeah, I feel sometimes I could see that, yeah, that exists. Maybe it's not openly like visible, but it is still there.
Yes, I agree with Nisha. Like, I believe to some extent, if I talk about engineering, I believe that some people believe that engineering profession is just for men, but now time are changing, and as time progresses, this changing. Like as time is progressing, so this is changing, and women are like able to prove themselves, and they are capable of improving themselves. So yeah, I agree with.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing your points of view. I think it's so important to have female representation, and so thank you for sharing your stories as well. Our next question is for Dr. Nisha, and it is there anything that surprised you when you first started out as a bioinformatician?
Um, Not really, because when I started as a bioinformatician, yeah, initially it was surprising because people were not aware about this field in India. But with the advancement and technology, like there was a big noise. Okay, what this field is all about? There was not clear picture about this field. But later on, like with the sequencing of the human genome and all, people got an idea about okay, what exactly bioinformatics is. So, and when I moved here to Canada, so everything was like well organized. So I think no, yeah, initially it was uh, the things were not very clear about. Yeah.
Great, thank you for sharing that. Our next question is a general question, and just to lighten things up, we're asking, what is the most exciting part of your day?
So I will start with this. Like in time of COVID, it is luxury to have like conversation with people. So what I look forward is like having conversation with my team, having conversation with different collaborators to talk about like different projects they are working, what they are doing. So I always feel very excited when I have a conversation like with my manager or with my team. So yeah, this is like I believe talking to them is like excited part of my day.
Yeah, initially I used to hate, like video conferencing and video calls. I used to like, oh, why do we have to do video call when we can, like meet in person? But because of COVID, I missed that part one to one. But thanks to technology, like connecting through Zoom and like Google Meet. So that's exciting. That's the exciting part. Along with that, like spending time with my family, because COVID has given me the opportunity. Like the travel time has been reduced. My kid is like homeschooling, so I like somehow try to manage both the things. So that's exciting. I can spend time with my family as well as I can do my work at my own pace. Yeah.
Great, thank you so much. We're glad to hear that there's still some positives that you both can find during quarantine. Our next question is again a general question, and it is what kinds of challenges do you encounter and what kinds of decisions have you had to make?
Challenges in general.
Yes, any challenges that you want to talk about? Yeah.
Yeah, so from career point of view, like coming to a new country and getting yourself, like in the shoes, that's a very big challenge. But I'm glad Canada is a land of diversity. You see a lot of people, a lot of immigrants coming here. But getting into a university program, that too with a scholarship, was a challenge. I wouldn't say that was a challenge because of that scholarship, like we made a decision of coming to Canada. But like after coming here, you miss your hometown. You have to start everything from scratch. So there I was working as an assistant professor, but when I moved here, so like getting myself back into that field, it took me like 2-3 years. So that was a challenge, but I think everything is like worth it. I don't regret like coming here and taking this as a challenge. Yeah.
Same with me, like when I moved from India to UK, it was like my first time when I moved from one country to another. So it was initially, and I don't have like any friends or any relatives there. So it was completely new setting for me. So it was initially difficult for me um, to understand their culture, their language, their accent, because I lived in Glasgow and Glasgow has their own language. So it was initially difficult for me, but like as time progressed, I was able to adjust in the culture and I was able to learn their languages. And yeah, so I think so these are some obstacles which I faced.
Thank you for sharing that. Both of you are very resilient for fighting through those challenges. So we're both proud of you. Our next question is for Dr. Manisha Ajmani. And this question actually comes from a high school student in Winnipeg, and it was sent to us through our social media. So they ask, have you done anything in regards to genetically modified food growth in Winnipeg? And if so, could you please tell us more about that?
This is an interesting question, but like as I mentioned, my role is like more into managing. So I have not done this. Yeah, but maybe I would love to do this in future. It's a really good thing. Yeah.
Thank you. Our next question is a general question. So both of you are sisters and both of you are also involved in STEM. And so because of how connected your fields can be, do you often work and share your projects with each other?
Yeah. So I can say like when my sister Nisha, she started working in masters, I was doing probably that time, I believe, bachelor's. So she used to come and she used to share with me about her project on which she is working. And to be very honest, I'm not a fan of biology. So she used to explain me, and she used to, so after listening to her research, one day she asked me, like, you know what I work on? I was like, yeah, you work on, there are two types of fish. After some time, one fish become like giant and they become violent, and you are researching why this happened. And she was actually shocked that what my understanding is. So yeah, we do share our research with each other, and I think so as we like progress from one degree to another degree, and as we get mature, we are more able to understand like what the other person is working on.
And I would like to add, when I asked her, like, do you know in which field I'm working and what my project is? Trust me, she, in a layman language, she explained the whole project. So she knew that I'm working on a fish and, like I'm trying to identify some genes which are differentially expressed in two species of lamprey so that, like we can study why one lamprey like matures early and they undergo maturation as compared to the other one. So I was shocked. Yeah, we do share our projects and like our research areas and I take her help sometimes for coding also because like she's from a computer science background, and being a bioinformatician sometimes I have to run some software programs, standalone programs. So sometimes like we do share like how we can help each other and help each other grow.
Those are funny stories, and it's so nice to hear that both of you help each other out. Thanks for sharing that. Our next question is another general question, and it is, what do you think is an important skill that professionals in your field should possess? And what skills do you possess to make you successful in your field?
I think I would say curiosity. If you're curious about a field, I would say just go and try that field. For example, if you're curious about how protein science work, get yourself involved in a lab training or something, like find a lab who is doing that kind of work. That will give you a kind of flavor. Okay, this is all about protein science. And I think curiosity is the main, like driving force in my language. So because like when I started bioinformatics, that curiosity of like combining biology and computer science, that was the starting point of my career. And I think that skill has really helped me, and with passage of time I have like developed new skills, like I always try to add on, like update myself. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Nisha. Like every skill you can learn, it's just like you are interested and you have a curiosity that how the things work, you can learn each and every skill. So I would suggest like always keep learning. Whatever interests you, just keep learning. And if you find something interesting, don't hesitate, like just pursue it. So yeah.
Yes, and I would agree. I completely agree with that. If you are not trying something new, how would you get to know whether that thing is interesting or not? So if even if you have that 1% of interest in any particular field, so I would suggest just look out for labs or look out for the areas where they're providing some kind of internship or some kind of workshops. Now with the help of because of COVID, a lot of things are happening virtually. So I think that's the best time to, explore and try something new.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing those insights and those wise words. It is so appreciated. Our next question is again a general question. It is, in what ways can we advance or move forward in STEM? What are some things you would say to the next generation of STEM researchers, STEM project managers, and STEM professionals?
Um, I think for the advancement, I would say that don't just stick on don't follow the traditional approach like the one-to-one teaching and all. Just take an extra mile. If you think you have a brilliant idea, just share it with the peers who are doing that kind of work. And sometimes a small idea can bring a new project. And moreover, I think there are a lot of funding opportunities available by the government. So I would suggest just explore that for the youth, for the high school students, for the researchers, for women. So a lot of things are happening, so you just have to keep your doors open and your ears open. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like don't restrict yourself in like specific field. Try to explore different fields and see like what interests you most. For example, if you are a researcher, just don't try to restrict doing research. Try to explore like different fields, for example, finance, commerce, or world trade fairs, so that this will help you to get an idea that where your research can help. So try to explore as much as field you can.
Those are inspiring and encouraging words, so thank you for sharing those. And at this point, we've reached the final question for today. So this is also a general question, and we ask, what advice would you give to a high school or university student who is unsure of whether or not your individual fields, and to a larger extent, the field of STEM, is the right fit for them?
So as I've been mentioning again and again, that if you are unsure, if even if you have 1% surety that you like this field, I would suggest just look for online courses nowadays. There are a lot of online portals which will walk you through the about the field. That would be the starting point. The second point would be like look for universities, look for funding options, look for labs who are offering and doing that kind of work. Contact the supervisor, send them emails, meet them virtually, I would say, not in person, but meet them. And you can go for some internship programs, lab training, that will give you a kind of idea whether you are fit for that field or not.
Yeah, I would say like just try it out. There is no hard and fast rule that you can not switch later on if you don't find that field interesting. So just try it out. Always keep learning and try to explore like which interests you most. And as I mentioned before, like whatever interests you more, try to pursue it. Don't hesitate.
Great. Well, thank you both so much for sharing all of your valuable experiences and perspectives. That was all of our questions today. So, on behalf of Project Pulse Winnipeg, we want to thank the both of you so much for answering our questions with so much knowledge and diligence.